Good afternoon and welcome to another program of the Recount Update. I am your host for this afternoon, Raymon Cummings, and I have with me Deodat Indar, who is a candidate on the PPPC list of candidates for the 2020 general and regional elections. Good afternoon, Indar. How are you? You have to unmute your mic.
Sorry. Good afternoon.
Yes.
Thank you for having me on, man. Thank you.
Okay, you are a candidate, and we are going through the different things that are emerging as a result of this update, as a result of the recount. We're into an election period that has been prolonged. Some call it historic. We are seeing the results of the March 2 elections not being completed after 3 months. We are now 30 days into the recount, and we are on the last leg with the East Coast being done now. We saw today 10 or more of the boxes on the East Coast that figures were given for Mingo, and now we're going through the recount and we're seeing some differences. What is the position there?
Well, as you know, and as the country knows, and we have to keep repeating it, because Mingo has perpetrated one of the worst happening on the electoral process in the history of the Republic of Guyana. When he stood on a balcony and manufactured numbers on a spreadsheet and professed to the world a Form 24 that was totally fraudulent. That Form 24, Mingo sought to not use the SOP. He manufactured those numbers. The recount over the past 30 days, as you rightly put, have been exposing what Mingo has done. There were a number of boxes, about 90 of them, from Eccles to Moblissa on the East Bank corridor. About 90 boxes that the recount has exposed that Mingo has fiddled with those numbers, giving the APNU 4,495 votes, at the same time reducing People's Progressive Party civic votes by 758, a total net benefit of votes he have given to the APNU of 5,250.
We seem to have lost you there. So we had the East Coast where you had the East Bank rather, where you had a net gain for the APNU of some 5,000 plus voters, well, ballots as a result of that debacle there. And then we are now working on the East Coast as the last area to be completed, some maybe 200 and something boxes left to be completed. But there was some work today, and as a result of that work that was done today, we saw some differences in the numbers given by Mingo and that which was on the SOP and that which is being shown now on the statement of recounts. We have some of those statements that we can look at, and we can see some of what transpired between the Mingo numbers that he was able to manufacture through some means and what actually took place in those ballot boxes. We bring up those sheets now so that you can look at those tables, so that you can look at the statements of poll. For example, this is in District 4, and this area was the Good for Acting area, Good for Acting Sparndam, and you had the statements of poll showing some 272 votes that went for the APNU. That's an area that the APNU won. And that was with a statement of recount shows that they actually got 271 votes. But Mingo's number showed that they got 372 votes, a net gain of 101 vote because the PPP figures for that box was not changed. Then you had another one of the sheets, and let me get that going. Another one of the sheets, and this one was also in good vote acting, showing that the APNU gained 276 votes. The statement of recount shows the same 276 votes. And the figures given by Mingo being 380. And this was at the Pleasance Primary School. That saw an increase of some 54 votes. Then we had the Pleasance Nursery School, which the APNU gained 182 votes in the statements of poll that was distributed on the night of March 2. The statement of recount that was generated today at the recount showed that they got 181 votes, but Mingo's declaration showed 262 votes, a gain of some 81 votes. Then we look at St. Pleasance, the Pleasance Primary School. The APNU, the statements of poll showed they had 305 votes. The statement of recount that was generated today showed that they had 304 votes, and Mingo declared 360 votes, a net gain of some 56 votes. Change Guyana also was affected because they had shown that they had no vote at that location, but they actually had one which was discovered during the recount, and the PPP figure remained the same at 9. Then when we went across to the Pleasance Community Center, the APNU got 133 votes in the statements of poll that was generated on the night of March 2. The statement of recount, 133 votes, that was generated today. But the figures declared by Mingo showed that the APNU had 203 votes, a gain of 70 votes. And we went along to the Society Hall in Pleasance, the Society Hall, and the statements of poll showed that was generated on March 2, 200 votes for the APNU. The statement of recount generated today showed 200 votes, while Mingo's declarations showed 230 votes, another 30 votes. Then we went across to the Pleasance Secondary School, where the APNU on the statements of poll showed 188 votes. The statement of recount generated today, 188 votes, but Mingo's figure showed 258 votes, 70 votes increase. Then we went to the Pleasance Secondary School again, and that number APNU 125 votes, the statement of recount 125 votes, and Mingo's figure 155 votes, a gain of 30. Then when we went to the Pleasance Secondary School, another box there, the APNU in the statements of poll got 180 votes. The statement of recount showed they gained actually 181 votes, and Mingo declared 230 votes, 49 votes added there. And this continued throughout this is a continuation of what we saw on the East Bank as they continued to fudge the figures or commit that terrible fraud. So Indar, Indar, we are at the stage now where these numbers are being exposed on a daily basis. And as you said, these figures are expected to continue throughout the period as we continue this recount.
Yeah, I think I gotta get back to the video. Okay, sorry. Yeah, so you went through a long list there, which added.
This is only today.
Yeah, that's only today. and it ain't finished yet. I mean, it's 5:15 and it ain't finished yet.
Yeah.
And that is the kind of thing that was perpetrated and foisted on the Guyanese people. This trickery that Mingo did to the voters. But that is not all. That is not all, sir. What is happening at the recount is another matter. Apart from Mingo's attempt to rig this election and steal a country, what is going on at the recount, it's another different set of revelation. The APNU agents from day one have been frustrating the recount. Number one, they didn't even want the recount. They went to court, the Ulita case. You remember that?
Yes, I remember that case.
And when you go down there to the recount and you started, they started on May 6th. From day one, they raised frivolous objections, one after the other. They were raising objections.
But let us look at these objections. Let us look at some of these objections that they're raising. I understand that the APNUs, they're claiming that some over 90,000 votes have been, in their term, contaminated by people who were out of the jurisdiction or would have died, and people would have voted in their stead. But let us look at elections. This is not the first election that was ever held. And there were other elections where petitions were filed about different irregularities. Could you recall any other elections where the results were being held up as a result of a complaint by a political party about someone or some irregularity where a person may have voted that was not in the jurisdiction, or somebody would have voted because someone is not in the jurisdiction?
Yeah, but before we go to that, you made a statement there and you went over it a little too lightly. That the APNU is claiming over 90,000 votes are questionable, or what they are calling fraudulent voting. Tainted. That is utter nonsense. It is outlandish and it is not true. It is clearly not true. There is a list that Mr. Harmon from the APNU submitted to GCOM. That list have 207 names on it. The Commissioner of Police responded to that list and said 35 people out of that list was in the country. The other 172 names that were on the Commissioner of Police list that he sent back to GCOM, just look at social media. If you have social media, you have Facebook, or if you read the newspaper, just look at the newspaper over the past 3-4 days. There's an entire picture painted to say that the information is incorrect, that the people are in the country and they voted. There are videos of people holding up their passport. There are people signing affidavit that they're in the country. So this manufacture of a claim that the person is not in the country is being exposed by the citizenry, by the voters. They're the ones out there coming and seeing their name and say, I voted, I am here, I haven't been anywhere. Some of the persons didn't even have passport. So I don't know how they're going to do it.
Are you concerned as a candidate and one of the persons who will be asked to represent people and have competed in this election? Are you concerned by the apparent contamination of the institutions of Guyana by these political types?
Well, listen, as a candidate and as a citizen, and every citizen should be concerned when independent institutions are supposed to and mandated by law operate independently, and they do not. Everyone should share that concern, not just the candidate or a person in high office, every single person, because they are taxpayers funded institutions, and taxpayers pay for those salaries and those office holders to do their job in the right way. There are laws passed by Parliament to make sure that officers within those organizations conduct themselves in a particular manner. When there's deviation from that, you have to call it out. It must be exposed. Now, if you have a commissioner of police report going to GCOM and it have names on there of people returning illegally, and clearly the people are in the country and never left, you're accusing them of a crime. You're accusing them of entering Guyana illegally, and they have not even left the country in the first place. It's not it's not a right, proper, or legal thing to go about doing, accusing people of a crime that they have not even committed. High profile people too. Some
Are
prominent
you
lawyers
actually,
and all.
Indar, are you actually in the counting stations? Have you been able to observe what takes place in the counting stations?
I'm not in the counting station, but I was part of the team outside, the People's Progressive Party team outside.
Because what I'm getting, and I do hope that you can respond to this. Based on what I understand, the serial number is called, and no one is able to see, to compare that serial number to see if there is actually a tick next to that person's name as claimed by the GCOM staff. Indar, I think we've lost you a little bit. But what is happening is that the serial numbers are called, and the persons are not given an opportunity to decide, to see, including the observers from the different political parties and the observers from the CARICOM and the other local observers and these observers from the different embassies and so on. They're not given an opportunity to see the names that is shown to determine whether or not this person's name was indeed ticked off on the list. The other issue we have is the issue of the complaints. The persons are coming forward and say, look, when you track the actual serial number to the person with their name and address, you're actually seeing that they're actually there. So we'll continue to track this as the recount continues. We're hoping to wrap up that recount in another 3 days or so, and we're going to be expecting to hear more from you and others as the time goes by. So until then, we'll join us again tomorrow for another program of the Recount Update. On 8 o'clock tonight, we'll have our usual program of Beth Eddie. So you'll join us and be informed as to what is taking place with the recount. Until then, I'm Raymon Cummings on behalf of Deodat Indar saying bye-bye.